Covering the aftermath of this election is kind of like going on a trail run. Follow me on the analogy for a second. You understand the distance you're going to be running. You basically know the terrain you're going to be covering. You're just unsure of the obstacles that may or may not be in your way. When I did my video yesterday on Pennsylvania regarding Act 77, it was being seen by a judge. They think, hey, you know what, you guys got ground to stand on. And I did say that, yeah, she was a little hesitant on perhaps ruling in favor of it because she didn't want to disenfranchise so many people. But hey, it immediately got seen mere hours later, which I didn't think it would be seen that quickly. So if you guys seen that video later, yeah, okay, the information was a little bit stale, but it was good when I put it out there, okay? It's kind of like a bakery making fresh buns first thing in the morning, and then by the end of the day, they're a little bit crusty, and then you just go to complain to the guy, and it's like, come on, fucking, what do you want from me? But here's the update, you eagle-eyed motherfuckers. Good, I like it when you guys are on top of shit. PA Supreme Court dismisses lawsuit seeking to make all mail-in votes unconstitutional. So that means that's probably the end of the line for this, right? Probably not, because there's still another court above that who's normally pretty hesitant to rule on this sort of stuff, but it still bears importance enough to be seen before the Supreme Court. So let's not jump to conclusions yet here, folks. We haven't seen the end of this. Let's see why it was dismissed, because, oh my, it's just like how the media wants to stick their head in the ground and not report on anything because, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has dismissed the lawsuit seeking to declare universal mail-in voting unconstitutional in the state and invalidate the state election results. The plaintiffs, led by Representative Mike Kelly and congressional candidate Sean Parnell, both Republicans, and Mike Kelly would have potentially lost his race had the mail-in ballots been ruled unconstitutional, as they are still unconstitutional. By the way that Act 77 was rushed and signed into law because it didn't go through the legislature, so it's still an illegal act, but we'll get to that in a minute. Could only be, so it was signed into law October 2019, and could only be changed by changing the state constitution. See where there's a little bit of a disconnect? But they called for the mail-in ballots that they alleged did not meet the constitutional requirements to not be certified, and for only legal votes to be certified, or for the Pennsylvania General Assembly to choose the electors to compensate the legal costs of the plaintiffs, which we still haven't seen the end of the resolution being drawn up by State Senator Doug Mastriano. He said he was going to be doing something at the end of last week, and that'll be coming presumably this week, but like I said, fuck it. It could be like an hour after I'm done printing this. So maybe the update will come tomorrow. Who fucking knows at this point? The shit moves at light speed, son. The 7-member state Supreme Court unanimously found the petitioners had waited too long to challenge the state laws. Oh, oh my god. It's like, okay, imagine somebody comes into your tool shed and steals all your power tools, goes to a pawn shop, sells them, gets the money, and then the pawn shop ends up selling the tools. What does the police do about it? Oh, nothing, because it's too late to get the tools back. The guys bought them fair and square. I understand that there's workarounds with that one. The pawn shops are normally held liable, but follow me on that analogy for a minute, because that's basically what they're saying. Yeah, it's wrong that they did this, but yeah, it's too late. It doesn't much matter. The body's already cold, right? Fuck. It's one of those things, like if you guys follow the work of Robert Barnes, I think he's probably the best lawyer on YouTube right now. To be completely honest, fight me. Like his analogy about courts throwing things out over standing, okay? Whether or not you have the right to sue on something, and if you're the right person to be suing for it. That's what standing means. A layman's definition, by the way. It's like, okay, if you want to sue to get on the ballot, okay, say because there's only 17 states where third-party candidates can get onto the ballots. Like, I think Kanye West was on, 17 of the states? I'm not entirely sure, but like if you sue to have your name put on the ballot in the spring, judges will normally throw that out because it's too early and you don't know how everything's going to shake out. And then if you sue again in the summer, everything's already kind of just rolling ahead and the ballots are already printed. It's too late to sue. And then if you sue in the fall right before everything, well, guess what? You waited too long. So you see, it's one of those nebulous definitions where they can just throw shit out for no apparent reason. It doesn't matter that something is, in fact, unconstitutional. And what is the role of the Supreme Court? Let's recite it again, guys. To interpret the Constitution as it's written. And That's why Supreme Courts, when all of these lawsuits tend to be kicked up to them, they don't really want to do anything. And that's why if it gets kicked up to the SCOTUS, which it probably will be, because I'd imagine the Trump side of the team is probably looking at this, not just the old Republican team, because that involves way too many rhinos at this point that just don't care. They like the fame that Trump brought to the GOP, but they could really give a fuck about actually backing him up on that. Just check the receipts on that if you want proof of what's going on there. No, but like I was saying about the Supreme Courts, they don't normally want to rock the boat when it comes to this stuff. They're fairly trepidatious about making any sort of landmark rulings unless they, I don't know, have a certain bugaboo about things. Well, let's just finish this one off because we got some more stuff to cover as well. I gotta do a little more cleanup there. At the time this action was filed on November 21st, 2020, millions of Pennsylvania voters had already expressed their will in both the June 2020 primary election and the November 2020 general election, and the final ballots of the 2020 general election were being tallied. With the results becoming seemingly apparent, the order stated, equally clear is the substantial prejudice arising from the petitioner's failure to institute promptly and facially challenge to the mail-in voting statutory scheme. As such, inaction would result in a disenfranchisement of millions of Pennsylvania voters. So yeah, you guys waited too long. And if you listen to anything that Sean Parnell or Mike Kelly have said, they were unaware of this prior to. It's a little bit more forgivable for Sean Parnell because he isn't actually an elected member of Congress yet. And if this ruling stands, he won't be for sure. So for him not to know about this is, okay, fair enough. But Mike Kelly probably should have known about this. But because, like I'm saying, it's unconstitutionally sound, it was just forced into law. So, oh, you know what? Everybody's already dealt with it before. So, yeah, we don't want to have to do anything extra when it comes to that. So, you know. A Pennsylvania appeals court judge ordered state officials on Wednesday to halt any further steps toward certifying the election results while the case was reviewed, even though Governor Tom Wolf, who slammed 77 in, said he had certified Democrat Joe Biden as the state's winner of the presidential election the day before. And the bottom line read on that, no takebacks. A federal appeals court in Philadelphia rejected President Donald Trump's latest effort to challenge the election results in the state on Friday, in a case that could reach the United States Supreme Court if Trump appeals. I wonder if he will. I think that's probably been the plan after all. Not like a cue, follow the plan, but, just see this all out until the end. So that's where we got in Pennsylvania. If there's any more information that comes out of this today, I'm not doing another video on the election. I want to talk about some other shit here today, but we got another state that came in within, I think, a couple of hours here, and that would be Wisconsin. Okay, the recount that was paid for by the Trump legal team, $3 million to recount Dane County and Milwaukee County. That encompasses the two largest cities in Wisconsin. That makes sense because there was some weird shit that happened there overnight, but yeah, during their straight recount, which we've documented a few times on this channel, it was only a 87 vote net gain for Biden after all. So I guess, yeah, there was still some irregularities there. Okay, cool. They were sorted out, sort of, because we're not going to be done yet. Because like I stated before, there was 100 and some odd thousand mail-in ballots that were a little questionable. And conservative talking head or conservative pundit Melissa Tate has it very well put here, and then we're going to get into the particulars here in a second. Dems celebrating primary Wisconsin results that include hundreds of thousands of ballots that will soon be thrown out because they do not have a written request on the ballot or record as required by Wisconsin law. These unlawful ballots will be challenged this Tuesday. During their Wisconsin recount, Trump team found 108,000 ballots that do not have a written request on record by Wisconsin law. These ballots are invalid and cannot be counted. There we go. Lawsuit set to be filed on Tuesday and should be an easy legal victory. Stay tuned. And then, of course, it just goes in there and fucking, just a bunch of racist rhetoric. Yeah, go buy a weave and fucking probably calls her something terrible in there. But I'd like to keep my channel up. And and the fact that I get to support somebody who's been so vocal about this, I can appreciate that. And once again, you can see the AIDS over here on Twitter because, what is that? You got Diaper Donnie. I don't even know what that is. I don't fucking care either. Don't at me. And then, of course, trending in Canada. Ugh, suck my dick. So this is from Wisconsin's division of NPR, Wisconsin Public Radio, which I'm sure probably has cutting-edge cheese and dairy talk. Or how about them Packers? think I've used this one before because some of the wording seems familiar, but it bears repeating. Absentee voting is already underway in Wisconsin. This is from October 2nd. And with the COVID-19 pandemic continuing, we'll likely see a record number of votes by mail this year. But there are challenges. In the April elections and presidential primary elections, officials disqualified about 23,000 mail-in ballots. Do you know how many were disqualified this time? Barely a percentage point of that, because we take everybody in. Borders are now completely open in every state when it comes to mail-in ballots. No ballots are illegal. Those ballots made up a relatively small percentage of the more than 1 million votes cast by mail, but 23,000 is almost exactly the number of votes by which President Donald Trump won Wisconsin in a 2016 election. And right now the lead for Biden is 20,000. So those 108,000 mail-in ballots, which all of the mail-in ballots skew heavily for Democrats, by the way, are a little bit up in the air at the moment. How can a voter be sure they filled out their absentee ballot so it will be accepted and counted? Well, did you fill in Biden's name? Because then it'll definitely be counted. Twice, maybe, if you're lucky. Here are some tips from election officials and reporters who have been covering the issue on absentee voting. You're welcome. Give yourself time. Act early. Act often. If there's one message election officials are stressing in the final month before the election, it's this. Time is really, really important if you choose to vote absentee by mail. Oh, it doesn't much matter. Just as long as it is post-dated, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, by election date, it should be fine, right? That's how Wisconsin Election Commission's Administrator Megan Wolf puts it at WPR's Central Time. Wolf said, different Wolf, not Tom Wolf. Hopefully she has a better hairline. Wolf said, under Wisconsin law, voters have until Thursday before the election to request a ballot by mail. That is 5 days. That would have been 5 days before the election. I fucking hate that. But don't wait that long. That's probably going to set you up for success in order to get the ballot in and back on time. Yeah, because you guys have ever... Of course you've used the Postal Service. Why would I bother asking an ad hoc question like that? I know up here it fucking Canada Post sucks a dick, and I've heard horror stories about USPS as well. So if you waited until Thursday to request your mail-in ballot, even though they were just all fucking sent out, and that's why they're so unconstitutional, but yeah. If you're waiting until 5 days before the election because you're too scared to go down there in person, fucking don't bother counting your vote. You're too stupid to exist. Why? Because there could be a lot in flux in the final weeks of the campaign. Yeah, laptops and servers and stuff, whatever. Election staff will be sending out and receiving massive numbers of absentee ballots, and there have been a number of reports about concerns over the U.S. Postal Service returning ballots to clerks in time for them to be counted. Oh, don't worry, they took care of that for you. Wolf said the Postal Service has been advised to take up to a week to receive ballots after it's been requested, and up to a week to send that ballot by mail back to the clerk's office. So in other words, don't wait. They did it anyways. Make sure you're registered to vote, and then request a ballot. Request a ballot through myvote.wi.gov or by contacting your election clerk's office. And that's what they found with 108,000 mail-in ballots that they were not requested, and that is required by the Constitution. Because here's the goofy little website. Oh, there we go. Here's the goofy little website. It updated on me before I can click on the tab. Yeah, this is right here, myvote.wi.gov. And it's English because my Spanish is good, but it's not that good. Registered Wisconsin voters may request an absentee ballot. If you would like to request an absentee ballot, we will first need you to sign in to see if you're registered to vote. If you are not registered or your name or address has changed, you will need to register or update your registration before requesting an absentee ballot. If you are in the military, you do not need to be registered to get an absentee ballot, but first we need to search your record. See, it's legitimate. It's not just somebody putting it up there saying that, oh yeah, well, you should probably just make sure that you're registered and it will send it out. No, there are steps that are needed to be taken by the Constitution of Wisconsin. With that said, that's why I covered the Pennsylvania story first, because even though something is unconstitutional, it doesn't necessarily mean that judges at the state level, at the appeals court, at the federal level, or rather at the Supreme Court level, are going to do fuck all about it, because they're all just kind of shoegazers and partisans when it comes to this issue. That's why I've been screeching, and I think it was all the way back at my RBG rant when she died, when we should look at term limits and redefine what the Supreme Court is actually for. They are for understanding and interpreting and applying the Constitution. That is it. You are not supposed to let your own inferences and discretions come in. I think that'll get you guys up to date. Okay, so Act 77 is still unconstitutional, but is not being ruled on. Well, it has been dismissed for all intents and purposes at the Pennsylvania Supreme Court level. Could it go up to SCOTUS? Yes. Am I holding my breath on that? I don't know. We haven't seen SCOTUS really rule on anything yet when it comes to mail-in ballots, now that the entire 9-person court is filled out. And yeah, we're going to have to wait until Tuesday, I think, probably until we get anything about Wisconsin again. So that should keep everybody up to date for the time being. But once again, if news changes like this, feel free to drop it in the comments section and I'll do an update on it tomorrow. But that's it for election stuff today. I grow weary of covering this shit every fucking day because it changes by the minute. But I'll still do it anyways because it's fun as fuck. Anyways, guys, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.